Hi everyone, it's me Leslie here with another video. Thank you so much for watching my video and thank you so much for subscribing. Today I will be continuing with my story time. Last week I did story time part 6 where I talked a little bit about becoming more grateful and altering my diet. This week, story time part 7, I want to talk about becoming a better person in a relationship, a better person to begin a relationship with. And so that part of my journey needs to start at the end of my journey abroad with my really good friend. I used to wear a moonstone around my neck. It was attached to just a simple silver chain and with a moonstone pendant attached to it. And I had purchased this moonstone after I went to a hypnotherapy session several years back. And I had went to that hypnotherapy session in order to get a better understanding of my life, some struggles I was going through, and also I was trying to have a better relationship, notably with my parents and especially with my mother. And during this hypnosis, I saw a moonstone, and so I felt inspired or compelled to buy one after this hypnotherapy session. And ever since, I'd been wearing a moonstone pendant attached to a silver chain. And I wore this my whole time while I was in Indonesia. And when my friend was planning to leave the country after her contract was up, and both of our times there at that school we were working for were coming to an end, we decided to exchange gifts. And I wanted to give her a moonstone, my moonstone, because I thought it would help her in her journey in some way. And I said, well, this moonstone means a lot to me, but I want to give it to you to help you. But do you think we can work out a plan for you to maybe send it back to me when you're done with it? And she told me, Leslie, I don't think that I'll be able to really send it back, but I do have something I can give you as well in return. And so after talking about this, we decided to just exchange gifts, and I decided she could keep this special thing, and in turn, she was going to give me something special. And what's so interesting about it is I gave her my moonstone necklace, and in turn, she gave me a moonstone heart. And here it is right here. I hope you can see it really well. It's really beautiful and smooth and shiny. But she gave it to me, and I think she gave it to me as to maybe help me find my way in my love life. And so it's always meant a lot to me, and it especially meant a lot to me then because I was really struggling to meet a nice person to have a relationship with. And that was, having a good relationship was something that I wanted for so long. And I want to share this journey with you all because relationships are such an important part of life. And so many of us who don't have a good relationship and really want a good relationship, some of us don't know how to get out of our own way in order to attract the right person into our lives in order to have a good relationship. And so after my friend gave me the heart moonstone, I started to meditate with the heart moonstone. And what I ended up doing was sitting it in my windowsill, and at night I would pray. I would pray to become a better person. I would pray to meet the right person in my life. I would pray that answers would come to me in order to attract this special person that I'd be able to be with and have a family with. And I did this for a long time. I guess I did it for, I don't even know how long. Maybe I did it for a year or so, where I would keep the moonstone in the windowsill and pray about attracting the right person, because I was so lost. So I did that, and at the same time I was still doing online dating off and on. And I still was meeting these men that didn't seem like they were as serious as I was to meet the right person, the person to have a long-term relationship with and eventually get married. And so I decided to get off of the online dating websites for a while until I could figure out what was going on. And what I ultimately decided was that I had a lot of work to do on myself. And by a lot of work, I meant like, does the person I want to attract, how do you want them to be a partier? Do you want them to drink excessively? Are you okay with them being a smoker? What do you really want? Do you want them to be monogamous? Do you want them to want marriage and children? Are you okay with whatever diet they have? I mean, what do you want? And that's when I realized that there were so many things about a relationship that I needed to answer within myself, but I also needed to look at myself in the mirror and do some introspection and truly decide if I were the type of person that I would want to date if the roles were reversed. I didn't want a partier. I didn't want an excessive drinker. I didn't want to be with somebody who smoked. I wanted somebody who cared about what they ate, mostly. I wanted a monogamous relationship. I wanted marriage. I wanted children. And I think a lot of times women, well, for myself growing up, or as a young woman, I felt like I didn't want to scare a man away with me letting them know that ultimately I wanted monogamous relationship that was ultimately going to result in marriage and children. And I think before I did the introspection and before I sat down and took a deep, hard look at what I wanted in a spouse and how I needed to change as a person in order to attract what I really wanted, I needed to change myself. But I also realized I had toxic ideals about what a good relationship looked like. I mean, there were so many times where I just heard, oh, men are like this, and all men are like this. Don't expect too much from a man. But now, as a married woman with a child, I realized that I wasn't expecting too much. But what I do know is I had to change myself. I had to work on myself. And I think a lot of times we don't think that we need to change. A lot of the times we believe that somebody just needs to accept us for what we bring to the table, for ourselves, for scars and all. Just accept me, and that's just the way I am. But actually, what I realized is we can change. We have the ability to change, and actually, we should change. I became a better person. And I became a better person not only because it was the right thing to do for myself and my life, but I also became a better person because I wanted to be a better person for a partner. And I wanted to be a better person in order to be an available, healthy, loving mother. So these changes that I went to were ultimately I ultimately changed myself from the inside out in order to be better for not only myself, but for others as well. And so with this moonstone, with this heart, it allowed me to take a step back and truly look into my own heart and realize that in order to attract good people, I had to be a good person, and that requires change. And if we keep sitting back and saying, oh, they just need to accept me for my bad temper and all, or they need to accept me for flaws and all, and oh, I'm just like this, or I'm just like that, actually, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're doing others a disservice. Or we can say we are doing ourselves and others a disservice when we fall back on just accept me as I am, instead of realizing that all of us, every single one of us, has a responsibility to be a better human being. And when we become a better human being, and of course becoming a better human being is something that continues over the course of our lives. We are never finished becoming better human beings. There's always something to work on. There's also always a lesson to learn. And when we work on ourselves, that's when we begin to attract that special someone in our lives. If that's what we want, if that's your goal, that was my goal, to attract the right person, a good person, then it actually takes a lot of introspection and self-work, and actually telling ourselves that maybe that's not an attractive quality that we have at the moment, or maybe that's something that truly needs to be tweaked. Or if you don't want to be a monogamous person, maybe you really have to be honest with yourself about that, so that you don't go into a relationship and have somebody believing that you can just be with them and nobody else. I mean, we have to be honest with ourselves about who we are and what we want, so we can attract that person who really vibes and meshes with our ideals and what we have set for ourselves as well. Okay, so that's all for this video today, everyone, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope this message resonated with someone watching, and until next time, bye.